the sagittal section of the cranium. Alright, so you can see the brain is intact. Okay, it is cut right in the center sagittal section, so you can see the right and left half of the brain. First thing that you can notice is the falx cerebri. Okay, you can see the falx cerebri, and you can also see the tentorium cerebelli. Can you see this? This is between the occipital lobes of the cerebrum and cerebellum. So cerebellum, you can see it looks like something like a cauliflower. Okay, it is more lobulated like this. So this is cerebellum, this is the cerebrum. So you can see the white part, grey part, all that you can make out. You can see elevations and depressions also you can see. So this portion is cerebrum, this is cerebellum, this is tentorium cerebelli. Okay, so what acts like a partition between right and left cerebrum is falx cerebri. So falx cerebri is single, so it has to go with either the right side or left side. Since it is not exactly in the center, it is little bit is here, little bit has come with this side. Understood? So you can also observe the cranial cavity. You can see the bone, you can see the spongy bone in the center, which is called the diploid, and these are the parts of the brain that will lobes of the brain. We'll come to that later. Okay, let's come to the sinus here. This big one, what you can see here is the frontal air sinus. All right, so this portion you can see from outside also, it is the nose. So here there is a septum. In this section little bit of septum is there, but in this other one the septum is even more better. So this is called the medial nasal septum, or just nasal septum, because there is only one. So it is made up of vomer at the posterior end. This is the perpendicular plate of the ethmoid bone, and this front portion is called the septal cartilage. So it is made up of septal cartilage, vomer, and perpendicular plate of the ethmoid bone. You can see the color difference you can make out. Okay, three things are there here that you can make out, and there are a lot of other alar cartilages are also there. So this is about the nose. So once you remove this nasal septum, you can see the lateral wall of the nose. So what you see here is the lateral wall. You can see elevations and depressions, which are called concave and meatus. Okay, there are three elevations, three depressions, which we can see only if we have removed this septum. Otherwise you cannot make out. So there are two lateral walls and there is only one medial wall. Alright, so this is about the nasal cavity, and behind this nasal cavity is the nasopharynx. This thing is the nasopharynx, where here you can see the sphenoidal air sinus. Alright, sphenoidal air sinus you can see, and this is the portion which is part of the sphenoid bone. This portion is part of the sphenoid. You can feel it is bony projection, this sphenoid bone, and you can also make out that there are other things like auditory tube opening is there, and sphenoidal recess is there. Okay, so sphenoethmoidal recess is there, where the sphenoidal air sinus opens into. All that you can make out here. We will talk about it when we come to the topic, nasal cavity topic. So here you can see all the vertebral bodies. The dark ones are vertebral bodies. The lighter lines are the intervertebral disc. You can count all the cervical vertebrae is there. The one which is very clear in this one, here the white one is the odontoid process of the second one. Since the first one is just a ring, you can see a part of it which is pointed with the red pin. Okay, that is just a small portion, that is atlas. This one is axis. Okay, you can see that. And here what you can see is the hard palate, and at the end of the hard palate, this pink one is for the soft palate. This is the soft palate, which hangs down from the pterygoid raphe. So this is the soft palate, and you can see here. Alright, so that you can see, and this is the tongue. This is the tongue. You can see fan-shaped muscle, that is the genioglossus. Okay, this is mandible. So from the genial tubercles, you can see two set of muscles, genioglossus and geniohyoid. So the one which is going down to the hyoid bone is geniohyoid. This is genioglossus. And here you can see there is a flap. What is this flap for? Okay, it is between this esophagus. This is the esophagus and this is the trachea. Okay, this portion is trachea. It is, what is it called? Epiglottis. This is epiglottis. Usually people get confused with epiglottis and soft palate. soft palate is right behind the hard palate. So don't get confused. In the oral cavity, just right ending of the hard palate is soft palate, and near the tongue is epiglottis. So this is epiglottis. Near this one, the trachea, you can see a small opening that is called the folds, vocal folds. I remember I told you about vocal muscles. I told you all the laryngeal muscles. I told you cricothyroid, posterior cricoarytenoid, and all those. What do? They open and shut the vocal folds. So this is vocal fold. What you can see slit is called vocal fold. So this is pointed. That is called sinus of larynx. What do you mean by sinus? Opening. So it has got two folds, above one fold, below one fold. Okay, vocal fold and vestibular fold, you can see two set of folds. In between that opening is called sinus of larynx. So this we can pin and ask you, what is it made up of? It is made up of vestibular fold and vocal fold. So this leads to larynx. You can identify because it has this cartilaginous rings, you can see, and behind here is the one esophagus, and you know that esophagus, unless it is filled, it is constricted to provide more space for the airway. It is not always nicely plump. This is the one which is collapsed. It is collapsed otherwise. So this is esophagus, the darker area. So you can also see the other structures. Come to this one. You can see the tongue here in this section. You can see the soft palate, and you can see the lateral wall of the nose. Okay, so here you can see the maxillary air sinus, little bit of maxillary air sinus. No, here this is the opening of the